My name's Gordon from Drayson Design.
And I'm Taylor from The Creative Tinker.
And welcome to This Week with Taylor and Gordon, a weekly podcast and vidcast where we talk about things that have affected our businesses in the last 7 days. And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, that means a new season.
It means a new season, it means a new year. We're now on to season 4. Wow.
And the colour was?
And the colour was purple.
Which you would have seen in our starting screen.
Yes, you would, before you clicked on it, yeah. So, we started a new year. Our seasons start with the new year, we decided. And on this occasion, for the third time now, we decided to redo the website.
Yep.
And so we have. And that's actually it went live earlier this week because we wanted to just make sure that it was all going to be working correctly and did what we wanted it to do.
Yeah.
So we gave ourselves just a couple of days extra to make sure that that was going to happen. And it's live. So you can go and have a look at thisweekwith.co.uk. And we thought we would spend this episode, excuse my voice by the way, I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment, but we thought we would spend this episode talking about our choices and decisions when we were building the website.
Yeah.
Because we were quite happy with the site as it was previously. However, it was built in Oxygen, and Taylor has now sort of moved over to Generate Press, and that's faster, easier to build, more flexible. There's lots of reasons why, but we won't go into that. We'll just go into our decisions and choices on the actual changes that we made to the site.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're not driving, have a look at the website while you're listening to it, because then you can sort of follow along with us. We've got it on a laptop just here, so we can look at it and go through it and make sure we don't miss anything that we want to say.
Yeah, so starting off, we have obviously the kind of purpley pink colour for our new season colour, and you can kind of see that throughout the website.
So we made it an accent colour.
Yeah, it's the accent colour that kind of follows throughout. But we also have all of the other season colours next to the season that episode's from. So if you're looking at season 1, 2 or 3, you will see that their featured image or the cover image that is on there and things like that is the colour from the season. So you know what season it's kind of. When you're searching on the episodes page, you can quickly see what episode or season something is from.
And if you want to see the latest information on whatever topic you're interested in, you'll know that the latest season is purple, and therefore if you see a purple icon or purple thumbnail, then you will know that that is the most recent.
Yeah, so starting off, we changed the homepage or the hero section. So it's now kind of just in the right and center, the name of the podcast, description of our podcast, I guess, with an up-to-date number of episodes, and then the list of all of the podcast platforms that we're on, and also Facebook and YouTube where we put the videos. So that was kind of the most important thing for us, is for people to be able to quickly find where they can easily listen or watch our episodes.
Yep.
Then following down, we have our latest episode.
Just before we go down, we've got a nice sort of background now, which is worth mentioning, because it's a repeating image in the background, but more importantly, it's got an opacity to it, which is set with CSS, so that we can decide how much of that background colour you see coming through. And that was really important, because until you actually see it in place, you don't know exactly how much you need to do.
Yeah.
And by creating different images and then having to upload them and go, no, it's still too bright, come back, and it just takes forever. So CSS is definitely the way to go for that.
Yeah. So you're moving down, we have the latest episode, similar to the previous website. We had the latest episode, front and center. So if people want to go and click on to see the latest episode, if they don't want to go onto one of the external platforms, and they can do that. And you click through to it. It will have the video, the audio, and some other things which we'll come on to.
So we did have previously a light box where the video would show on the home page, and we've done away with that because we thought, if people are interested in that episode, it's probably better to go to the episode page and see all of the rest of the information on that page as well, rather than just having it on the homepage.
Or watch the episode while you're looking at some, the show notes, for example. Whereas before, if you had done that, you would have had to click on, close the light box to actually go to the page
and lose your place. So you would basically have to start over again on the video.
Yeah.
And we got a nice little mouse over which just highlights the border white, just to show that you are. That it's a button basically, or it's clickable.
Yeah.
And it's also got all the dynamic information. We don't have to update this. It just grabs the information from the latest episode and puts it all in for us. And that includes the thumbnail, the season number and the episode number, the topics, the information underneath as well. It's all dynamic, so we don't have to do anything, which is great.
So moving down, we have our episode search bar. Now it's a bit further down than last time, which it is could be seen as worse, but we wanted to make sure the places people can watch it were the main things for us.
And then the latest episode to get people hooked. That's the idea.
And
then once they're hooked, they can go and search for other things that they might be interested in.
Yeah, and there are multiple places you can search for episodes. So we have the same design for the drop down when you have the previews, and it highlights the word in the episode of your searched term, essentially, which is quite nice. Moving down, we've got our mission, which we had before, with pictures of us and kind of why we started it and how it came about.
Change the style slightly on the images just to make them a bit more colourful.
And then we've got the top 6 or the latest 6 episodes and a button to the episodes page.
Again, all of those are dynamic. It's got all the topics in there so that you can see what it does and what it's all about.
Then moving to the episodes page, very, very similar to...
Oh, hang on. We missed something on the homepage, didn't we? Did we not? Did we talk about the footer?
Talk
about the footer. Might as well finish off. So we've got the if you enjoy our content, please rate our podcast, which we had previously. And again, we're using our accent colour for that. And then the footer, which is very similar, in fact.
Very, very similar to our previous one. Again, just a slightly updated design.
And one of the things we did is all the logos are now much higher quality. So we had some low-res images before. We're now using vector images, SVGs.
And the latest icons.
And the latest versions of them, yes.
Some of them have changed. So for example, Amazon Music, have changed their logo slightly from a darker blue to this kind of like tealy green one.
So let's just talk about the menu as well. The nav bar at the top.
We have an about page now.
So yes, we as far as the nav bar goes, first of all, we decided to just put This Week With as the title on the top left. And that is normally the button you would click on to get back to the home page. And then we've got currently 4 options in the nav bar. So we've got the home, which is where you start. You've got the all episodes page, the about page, and you've got a button that's I think it's worth mentioning. Do you want to explain this one?
So the button is a latest episode button. Now again, this is dynamic and it's very clever the way it works. It basically redirects you to the latest post automatically, and when we publish a new one, it will just redirect you to there.
Yeah, so it knows what the latest episode is. It will just take you straight there. It's just a shortcut, basically. Yeah. But again, it's dynamic, which is brilliant.
So episodes page is very, very similar to the old site or the version 2 site.
We've updated the design slightly with the title first of all by having this sort of waveform at the back, which is quite nice.
We got the filtering, so you can search, you can select a date range, and you can obviously filter by the season. If you know there's the topic you want to hear about, but it's in a specific season, you can quickly filter that. And then we just got the list, and then you can load more if you are looking further down and it's not, you haven't found one in the latest post.
Yeah, so what it does is instead of loading currently 110 episodes in one page, it'll load sort of 10. And then if you want to see more, you've got a button and it'll then load the next 10 and so forth, so that you're not going to be waiting for ages for everything to load.
Yeah.
But you can, if you want, keep clicking it and you'll end up with all of the episodes on the one page.
Yeah. So moving to the About page, very, very brief. We're going to be updating this with the history and the stats in the future. When we've kind of calculated them and come up with a design for them. But it's basically got a description, an image, and just, our links to various places around the internet. So for both of us, we've got our company buttons, or buttons for our companies. And then
for the websites.
Yeah, and then socials. So for me, I've got Twitch, LinkedIn, my personal website, and an email. And you have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, your two magic websites and an email.
Yeah. And I quite like how these work as well, because we managed again to get SVGs in with our logos and put them into the button for our websites. So it's sort of it's a little touch, but it just makes it look really, really, really different. It's a nice little element, I guess. A detail, I think, is probably a good word. And we are planning on adding more to this page, but not currently. That's something we are going to be doing in the future.
So if we move to one of the episode pages, this is I'm doing my lunch, so I'll quickly.
Right, Taylor's. Apologies about this. We've been working really hard on this. I won't go through the page yet until Taylor gets back. But what I will say is that we've spent probably about 4, maybe 5, maybe I'm guessing about 4 days worth of work. This is that's both of us, so that's 8 man days, if you like, and that's not creating any new content, as in the episodes, because for the last sort of couple of weeks or so, while the site was being created and updated, the development version was being updated. What I was doing is I was adding episodes onto both the current website and the development website, so that the content was going to be the same. I'm just saying, I think we've spent probably about 4 working days on this over, so it's 8 man days, if you like, because there's 2 of us working on it. But we didn't, as I said, add any new content. It was a redesign. We already had the framework.
So I think,
but it was a rebuild from scratch, if you like.
Yes, so it's a rebuild in terms of the website, which whenever you're building a website, you're always going to be rebuilding the main template pages and things like that. There's no way to get around that. You're always going to be doing that, but you can reuse a lot of the data,
assets.
And the detail, the data that's been input already. So we store a lot of data in custom fields, for example.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
And we've actually got about 5 gigabytes worth of MP3s, graphics, images,
podcasts, thumbnails.
Which we migrated over. So that was sort of all the content ready, and we just then had to manipulate it and put it how we wanted it to be seen.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because from version 1 to version 2, we added a bunch of new custom fields, and from version 2 to version 3, we've added a couple more, and that's because as you build a site, you have new ideas and you need new fields to be able to pull in different data. So, for example, when version 1 to version 2, we added a season color that we could add to each category to highlight things. And from season 2 to season 3, or version 2 to version 3, for example, we've added some new things which we will go through. Some new custom fields that weren't in the previous version because we didn't have those features.
That's right. So going into the latest episode page, so this is the episode detail page. We decided on this occasion that we were going to split it up into 2 columns. So we're going to have a main column and then a right-hand column.
Sidebar.
Yeah, exactly, which is going to be smaller. And there's several reasons for that decision. We wanted to have the ability to put in featured links, but also advertising. Now, I know what you're going to say. You hate advertising. Well, Taylor and I, we spend a lot of time doing these episodes, and so the advertising is going to be for us. So it's going to be for our own projects. Or if we have a special guest on, for example, we might have a featured link from them and put up a link to go to their sites as a sort of a thank you for being on our podcast, really.
Yeah, so if we move down the page, we've got the video at the top and the episode info on the right, which you will be used to, not on the right, but you'll be used to the box with the main topics, the duration and the published date, quickly available to you, should you want to just glance at it while you're watching the video.
When he says on the right, that's on the desktop view. If you're looking at it on mobile, it won't be on the right. Obviously, there's just going to be one column because it needs to be responsive.
Same with the previous website. Yeah, we had the previous and next buttons, so you can navigate between all the episodes without leaving the page. You don't have to go back.
And we put them together because before they were underneath the video, and one was right the way on the left, and one was right the way on the right, and they didn't look connected. Yeah. So we've put them right next to each other. But obviously, the latest episode doesn't have a next.
Yeah.
And the first episode doesn't have a previous, so we needed to take that into account as well and make sure it looked right.
So under the video, we have the podcast episode. So if you want to listen to it, you can do. And this is a nice kind of player which has waveforms and has a little sticky bar as you scroll down the page, so you can control it while you're reading the show notes or even the transcript.
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Moving down on the right hand side, we have a new feature, which is the featured links. So this basically is pulls out, it is manually done, but pulls out all of the links of things that we've talked about in that episode.
So we have a links field that we fill in, or that I fill in, when the show notes are being created. And I put in any links to any content or information that we've talked about during the episode. And then something really clever happens with it because...
So we have an API that I use, and one of the API functions is being able to pull page meta. So this includes the title, the meta title, the meta description, and the meta open graph image. Now what this means is we can add a title and a link in the back end and then make a request to the URL to say, here, can you get the page description and the page social image. So when you share it on social media, you normally get this nice image that shows up alongside your link. And we're basically getting that, and it then puts it into the right hand side as a nice way to quickly see stuff we've spoken about, rather than just having a plain link, which we still do have in the show notes. So if you want a bit more context about it, you can obviously get that. But if you're looking at just things that we've spoken about in that episode, you can just look on the right hand side and everything that we've spoken about will be.
And what's really nice is some websites haven't set up an open graph image, and they don't have a default. So we've got a sort of a fallback image, which is just our background from the homepage. Which doesn't show anything at the moment. It looks a little bit blank actually. I think we need to put something on there, but for the time being there's nothing there at all. And so some links are just the name of it, the site or the link, and the link itself, and that's it. There's no other information because the site doesn't have any information. And so I have a link to put into this episode. The service we're using for that is called
One Simple API. Now they're a great company, and we've spoken about them before when I created the scanner integration where you could sign up for an event, and then you'd get a QR code, and then you'd be able to scan the QR code, and once you've scanned it, it would give you an error if you tried to scan it again and things like that. And it checked back in the database, and that was more like a proof of concept to see if I could use the QR generator API with it. So yeah, we'll put a link to OneSimple API.
Which has lots of functionality, and we both highly recommend it. It's great. It's a great service.
Yeah, and we're actually using their API, another part of their API. So one of them was the page meta or page information, and the other one is the screenshot API.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So going down the page again, if we go to the left-hand side this time,
we have all of our show notes and transcripts in tabs. So similar to the previous site, we liked that because it didn't make the page really long, and you can easily see if you want the show notes or the transcript. The transcript's really useful because it allows us to index a lot of content that we might not write in the show notes, but we said.
Yeah.
So if you're searching for something, a lot of it can be found just through the transcript because we would have said something along those lines.
So is the transcript being indexed by the search at the moment? Because it's not showing currently in the results, because it's only looking at the topics.
No, it does.
Okay.
But I believe it only highlights if the word has been in there.
Okay.
So maybe a test would be to find a word in one of our transcripts that isn't in the show notes and see if you can find that in the search. It might be quite nice.
Yeah.
We've then got on the right hand sidebar going down, we've got two kind of little adverts which are very similar to the about page, but kind of shortened without a description and things. And again, they've just got links to our places finding us on the internet. And then scrolling further down underneath everything else, we've got You May Also Enjoy, which is kind of like a related post, but they're not related. They're just completely random. But they're just other episodes that you might be interested in looking at.
Yeah. So that is all of the pages on the site that you will see, but there's one other thing that we have, which is really good.
Yeah, so this is something that I've done on 2 sites now, and it's so cool because it takes away a lot of manual labor, and there's a lot of control over it, but also it's something that you can build visually. And this is creating dynamic open graph images. So a great example, which you'll be able to see, hopefully, is GitHub. They have dynamic open graph images for any repositories. And what they do is have the repository name, the number of stars, the number of commits, the number of PRs, so that when you share it on Discord, on Facebook, wherever, Twitter, you can see all these cool little stats before you click into it. Now we've done something similar. We have created an open graph image which has the episode number, the season color, and the topics, publish date,
and duration.
And the duration, all in the open graph, which is dynamically generated when you share the post.
Yeah, so if you're on the page of an episode, so on a specific episode page, and you copy that URL and you send it to someone over Messenger or sometimes over iMessage or Messages, as I think it's now called.
Yeah.
It will add in an open graph image, and this open graph image is the one that we create dynamically. So you may be the first person to send that link to somebody, and it means that it'll take a few seconds to create that image, but then next time it'll just use the cached version, so it doesn't have to redo it each time.
And it is very, very clever, and the way that I've built it means that should we in the future ever update the open graph image, just slightly tweaking it or whatever, I have a version number in the URL. So what happens is we pass URL parameters to the API for the post ID, whatever, and things like that. But I also pass a version number in. And what that means is that if the version number is the same, it's going to show you the cached version. However, if we update that version number, it will generate a brand new thumbnail. So it means that if you've shared something in the past and we update it and you share it again, it will regenerate it. Otherwise, if it hasn't, we will just serve the cached version.
So what I'll do is on the page for episode 111, which is this episode, I will put a link to one of our episode pages so that it will bring in the open graph image and you can see what we're talking about. And I'll also do one from one of Taylor's other sites, maybe your personal site.
Yeah, so I did something on my personal site which is a lot more complex and isn't as I couldn't visually build it like I did for This Week With's website. However, I pull in lots. I have like, I don't know, 8 to 10 different open graph images, and they all depend on on the type of post it is, or the page it is, and things like that.
So I'll post a link to that as well, and you can see maybe a couple of links even because we've got the space, and we can you can see the open graph images at work. It's a really clever system, and I hope Taylor at some point will create a tutorial for Snippets Club for that, because I think that will be very valuable for other people as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've wanted to do on Snippet Club as well, you know, for stuff that doesn't have a set featured image. You know, it might be quite nice to generate a featured image that has, you know, the title in it or whatever, that's just kind of a placeholder, so that I don't have to generate something, but, you know, it still looks, you know. And
the open graph image is used in a lot of places. For example, if you post a link on Facebook or if you post it on Twitter, it will quite often bring in the open graph image so that it's got a visual element for that link. So, you know, give it a go and see what open graph images you've got for your websites, and if you haven't got one, get one done.
Yeah, because as we have found out by quite a few people, or companies and things like that, some people don't have open graph images set, and we are trying to pull your open graph image and you don't have one, so we can't display, you know, and all it is advertising for you and your website. So
and images grab more attention than checks on its own. So right, anything else that we need to say?
I don't think so. I mean, when we update this in the future, you know, we wanted to get something out, and, you know, for the
site is pretty much, I guess, 85-90% of what we wanted. We don't have our adverts in there yet. That's something that's coming. We've got a few more bits to put on the about page, but the majority of the site is done, and it looks really good. I think it looks great. What you think? If you find to know these things, because we don't have all the devices on hand that we can test with, so some people use different devices that we don't have access to, and, you know, it would be lovely to get a screenshot of what you're seeing so that we can
try to come up with new ideas and new features that we think would be useful. And again, from season 2 to season 3, we, you know, because we've been doing it for long, you know, wasn't actually useful, or, you know, wasn't as good as have the information where you want it, when you want it, and try and make sure everything's as easy to use as possible.
And one of the things that we wanted to do also is that because we spent quite a lot of the website, we didn't want to just overwrite it and delete everything. So we've actually archived it, and it's sort of hidden away. Yeah. But if you want to go and see it, you can do. You need to go to v2, as in version 2, .thisweekwith.co.uk, and you will see the preview up until earlier. It's a nice sort of for us, so that we can see where we've come from. Yeah,
we kind of regret not keeping version. Couldn't restore it and cover it.
What we're going to try and do is see if the Wayback Machine has anything, and if it does, then we can at least get some screenshots of the site. Which will be a nice sort of it's a nice sort of timeline that we can put together. And that's something we'd like to do and put it on the About page. So I think we need to tell you that's our sort of last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, however long it took. 3 weeks, I think. We were working on it in about 30 minutes. So thank you for joining us. As I said previously, please let us know if you have any comments or you have any ideas. We'd love to hear. Subscribe so we can get more people seeing our new website.
You can also go to our brand new but season 4 website, thisweekwith.co.uk, to find all of our past episodes. We've seen an old and outdated version, so go and have a look.
We will be back next week at 1 p.m. on Friday. I've got Panto, which is starting tomorrow. Wish me luck. First, I will probably come to Gordon, and I'm from Drayson Design.
And I'm Taylor from the Creative Tinker.
Goodbye.
Bye.